Genoa City is once again caught in a storm of power, betrayal, and hidden agendas. At the center of this chaos stands Phyllis Summers, a woman who has never backed down from a fight, no matter how dangerous the opponent. This time, her biggest challenge comes from none other than Victor Newman, a man known for controlling everything he touches. Victor believes he still holds the upper hand, especially after creating a shocking set of fake emails designed to corner Phyllis into submission. Victor's expectation was simple. He thought these fabricated messages would force Phyllis to step away from her growing control over Newman Enterprises, a company she has now rebranded in her own way, calling it Summers Conglomerate. But what Victor didn't expect was Phyllis's reaction. Instead of fear, she showed calculation. Instead of surrender, she showed strategy. Phyllis took a step back, looked at the bigger picture, and made a decision that changed everything. She refused to fold. Even though Victor believed he had finally trapped her, Phyllis saw through the pressure tactics. She understood that this wasn't just about emails or threats, it was about control, legacy, and survival in a city where power changes hands in seconds. And she was not ready to give up what she had gained. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, another dangerous player was being squeezed into the spotlight: Cain Ashby. Cain is not just an observer in this chaos. He is deeply connected to how everything started. His artificial intelligence software was originally involved in a plan targeting Newman Enterprises. A plan that was supposed to shift power in a controlled way. But things didn't go as planned. Phyllis intervened. She took control of Cain's creation and turned it into something far more dangerous than anyone anticipated. What was once a tool became a weapon, and that weapon was used to steal Victor's most valuable business assets. Now Cain finds himself trapped in a situation he can no longer control. He didn't expect things to spiral this far. At one point, he even tried to step away from the entire operation. But by then, it was too late. The damage had already been done, and both Victor and Phyllis now have reasons to keep him under pressure. Victor sees Cain as part of the original betrayal. Phyllis sees him as someone who lost control of his own creation. And Cain? He is stuck in the middle of a war between two extremely powerful forces. As tensions rise, one thing becomes clear: this is no longer just business. It is personal. And in Genoa City, when things become personal, there are always consequences waiting just around the corner. The situation in Genoa City is becoming more complicated as Cain Ashby finds himself pulled deeper into a battle he never truly wanted. What started as a risky business move has now turned into something far more personal, and far more dangerous. Cain is finally starting to feel the weight of everything that has happened. For the first time, his actions are not just affecting corporate deals or power structures, they are affecting people he cares about deeply. And at the center of that emotional storm is Lily Winters. Lily has always had a complicated history with Cain. There is love, disappointment, trust, and heartbreak all mixed together. But recently, something shifted between them in a way neither of them expected. Cain did something that surprised everyone. He agreed to get tested as a potential bone marrow match for Malcolm Winters. It wasn't a business decision, and it wasn't part of any strategy. It was a completely human choice, one that showed a different side of him. For Lily, this moment meant everything. For a brief time, she saw Cain not as a man surrounded by mistakes and chaos, but as someone capable of selfless action. It opened a door she thought had been closed for good. There was hope again. A possibility that maybe the version of Cain she once loved was still there, buried under everything that had happened. But that hope didn't last long. Because outside of their personal world, the pressure on Cain was increasing fast. Legal threats, corporate tension, and the fallout from the AI situation were all closing in on him. He is now caught between two powerful forces, Victor Newman on one side, and Phyllis Summers on the other. Both of them are fighting for control, and both believe Cain played a key role in how things escalated. Victor does not trust him at all. To Victor, Cain represents the original mistake, the entry point of everything that went wrong. Phyllis, on the other hand, sees Cain differently. She doesn't see him as a leader in this chaos, but as someone who lost control of his own invention. Still, she is not willing to let him walk away freely either. This puts Cain in an impossible position. Every direction he turns, there is pressure. Every choice he makes creates another consequence. And the worst part is that Kane now realizes something important: staying silent might not protect him anymore. There are whispers that he could be forced into legal cooperation. Some even suggest he might be pushed to reveal information about Phyllis's actions, or risk becoming the main target himself. The idea of turning against Phyllis is not simple. It is not just legal, it is emotional, strategic, and deeply complicated. Because no matter what has happened, Kane is still connected to everything that was built, broken, and stolen. Meanwhile, Lily is watching all of this unfold from a painful distance. She sees a man trying to hold himself together while the world around him demands answers he may not be ready to give. And for Lily, the question is no longer just about love. It is about whether Kane can ever truly escape the consequences of his choices. Or whether this storm will completely change who he becomes. In Genoa City, nothing stays simple for long. And Kane Ashby is about to learn just how far that truth can go. As the pressure continues to rise in Genoa City, the conflict surrounding Kane Ashby is no longer just about technology or business deals. It has now turned into a full-scale power struggle involving some of the most influential names in the city. At the center of it all is Victor Newman. Victor is not someone who easily accepts defeat. For him, control is everything, and losing Newman Enterprises, or what he believes was stolen from him, is unacceptable. That is why he has now escalated his approach into what can only be described as a scorched earth strategy. His goal is no longer negotiation. It is complete elimination of the threat. Victor believes that Phyllis Summers crossed a line that cannot be ignored. The fake emails, the manipulation of digital assets, and the takeover of corporate control have all pushed him into action. But Phyllis is not reacting the way he expected. Instead of backing down, she is standing firm. She is analyzing every move Victor makes, refusing to show fear, and continuing to hold on to what she has gained. In her mind, this is not just theft or revenge, it is survival in a world where power is constantly shifting. Phyllis has always been unpredictable, and this situation is no different. Even under pressure, she refuses to give up control of what she now considers hers. She has already lost important personal relationships. Her daughter Summer has distanced herself from her completely. Daniel has also turned away after revealing critical information to authorities. Phyllis now finds herself isolated in many ways, holding on to power but losing emotional support. Still, she does not break. Instead, she becomes more focused, more calculated, and possibly more dangerous. Victor, however, is tightening the net. Behind the scenes, he is working on legal and strategic moves designed to put Phyllis in a position where she can no longer escape consequences. His plan is not just about reclaiming assets, it is about making sure she pays for every action she has taken. But there is a complication in Victor's plan. Kane Ashby. Kane is now deeply entangled in the aftermath of everything that happened. The AI system he created was never meant to be used in this way, but once Phyllis took control of it, the situation spiraled far beyond his control. Now, both Victor and Phyllis see Kane as a key piece in the puzzle. Victor believes Kane is the starting point of the entire conflict. Phyllis sees him as someone who lost control but still carries dangerous knowledge. This puts Kane in a position where silence is no longer safe. He is being pulled closer to legal pressure, and the possibility of him becoming a witness or turning state's evidence is becoming more realistic. Whether he wants to or not, Kane may soon be forced into revealing truths that could change everything. And that truth could destroy Phyllis's position completely. At the same time, it could also permanently damage Kane's future in Genoa City. Nothing about this situation is simple anymore. Every character is now trapped in a web of consequences, where one decision can shift the balance of power entirely. And as Victor prepares his next move, Phyllis continues to hold her ground, refusing to surrender what she believes she has already won. The war is far from over. In fact, it may only be getting started. The tension in Genoa City continues to escalate as Victor Newman moves closer to executing his most aggressive strategy yet. What began as a corporate conflict has now evolved into something much darker, a full-scale effort to dismantle everything Phyllis Summers has built. Victor is no longer interested in compromise. In his mind, Phyllis has crossed too many lines. The fake emails, the manipulation of advanced technology, and the takeover of Newman-related assets have all pushed him into a corner where only one outcome seems acceptable: complete retaliation. This is where his scorched earth plan truly begins to take shape. Every move Victor makes is calculated. Every decision is designed to apply pressure from multiple directions at once. Legal threats, financial leverage, and personal influence all become tools in his strategy. But even with all of this, Phyllis Summers remains standing. She is under pressure from every side, yet she refuses to show weakness. Instead of retreating, she continues to analyze the situation with a cold, strategic mindset. She knows Victor well enough to understand that backing down would only confirm his dominance. And Phyllis has never been someone who accepts defeat easily. Even though her personal life is collapsing around her, with Summer distancing herself and Daniel cutting ties, she continues to hold on to the one thing she believes still gives her power: control over the assets she secured through manipulation and opportunity. In her mind, this is not just survival. It is reclaiming a place in a world that has repeatedly underestimated her. But the pressure is not only coming from Victor. Kane Ashby is still caught in the middle of everything. His AI system, which once represented innovation and opportunity, has now become the center of a legal and ethical storm. What was originally designed as a technological advancement has been turned into a weapon in a corporate war. Kane's situation is becoming more unstable by the day. Authorities and powerful figures are now examining his role in the chain of events. Even though he tried to step back at one point, the consequences of his earlier involvement cannot be erased. There is growing speculation that Kane may soon face a critical decision: either cooperate with legal forces or risk becoming the primary target of the entire investigation. The idea of cooperation brings its own risks. If Kane speaks openly, he could expose Phyllis's actions in detail, potentially destroying her position completely. But doing so would also place him in a dangerous spotlight, making him responsible for escalating the entire conflict. On the other hand, staying silent is no longer safe either. Because silence now looks like guilt. Meanwhile, Victor is watching everything carefully. He knows that Kane could become the key that unlocks the entire case. If Victor can pressure him into revealing the truth, Phyllis's empire of control could collapse faster than expected. Phyllis, however, is not unaware of this possibility. She understands that Kane holds sensitive knowledge. And she also understands that Victor is trying to use that knowledge as leverage. This creates a fragile balance. One wrong move from any side could completely change the direction of the conflict. And in Genoa City, balance never lasts long. As alliances shift and pressure builds, all three, Victor, Phyllis, and Kane, are moving closer to a breaking point that could redefine everything that has happened so far. The only question now is not who is right or wrong. It is who will survive the fallout. In Genoa City, the battle between Victor Newman and Phyllis Summers has now reached its final and most dangerous stage. What started as a corporate dispute has transformed into a full-scale power war, where every move carries serious consequences. Victor Newman is fully committed to his scorched earth strategy. There is no hesitation left in his actions. His goal is clear: to reclaim control and eliminate what he sees as a direct threat to his legacy. The fake emails, the manipulation of digital systems, and the takeover of Newman-linked assets have all become the foundation of his case against Phyllis. Victor is now applying pressure from every possible angle, including legal action, financial disruption, and behind-the-scenes influence. For Victor, this is not just business anymore. It is personal justice. But Phyllis Summers refuses to surrender. Even as the situation becomes more unstable, she continues to stand her ground. She understands that Victor's strategy depends on fear and pressure, and she is doing everything possible to resist both. Phyllis has already lost a great deal in her personal life. Her relationship with Summer is broken. Daniel has distanced himself after cooperating with authorities. Emotionally, she is isolated. Yet, professionally, she is still standing. She holds onto the control she gained through risky and illegal means, believing that in Genoa City, survival often depends on how far someone is willing to go. At the center of this entire conflict is still Kane Ashby. Kane is now facing the most critical moment of his life. His artificial intelligence system, once intended as an innovation, has become the key evidence in a growing investigation. Everything that happened between Victor and Phyllis traces back to this technology. Now Kane is under immense pressure. He is being watched closely by both legal forces and powerful individuals who want answers. The possibility of him becoming a cooperating witness is no longer just speculation, it is becoming a real option. If Kane chooses to speak, he could expose Phyllis's entire operation. That would shift the balance of power immediately and potentially bring legal consequences down on her. But that choice would not come without cost. Because once Kane starts talking, there is no way to take it back. He would also place himself at the center of the storm, possibly becoming responsible for escalating everything that followed. If he stays silent, however, the risk is different. He may become the primary target of the investigation, carrying blame for actions that were taken far beyond his original intent. Meanwhile, Victor is waiting for the right moment. He knows that Kane holds the missing piece of the puzzle. One statement, one confession, or one mistake could allow Victor to finally bring Phyllis down completely. And Phyllis knows this too. That is why she is carefully watching every move around her, preparing for the possibility that the situation could turn against her at any moment. The tension between all three, Victor, Phyllis, and Kane, is now at its peak. Trust has completely broken down. Every alliance is unstable. Every decision feels like a turning point. And in Genoa City, turning points rarely end quietly. As the dust begins to settle on this phase of the conflict, one truth becomes unavoidable. Nothing will ever be the same again. The battle for control, survival, and truth is not just about companies or technology anymore. It is about who will come out of this war still standing and who will be destroyed in the process.